Joining us now from Washington, syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Charles, obviously a lot of concern about the people in this area and what's happening. There's been a lot of talk about the politics of Hurricane Sandy. Your thoughts of how this has potentially affected the race and how it may affect Tuesday?
I think it clearly has affected the race. We speculated about this at the beginning on Monday, but now the numbers are in. If you look at the race last Monday, right before the storm, clearly Romney was still on a roll. His momentum was diminishing, but it was still enough to carry him right over the finish line had nothing intervened. Well, something did intervene, and it was a hurricane. And clearly, we see by the polls today that it's had an effect. You look at the national polls, Rasmussen and others had Romney ahead by 3-4 points. The beginning of last week, that's now 0. That's now a dead heat, and in the battleground states, there's been a bit of an edge for Obama. And clearly it's obvious why. The president gets to play commander-in-chief, but I think even more important was the bear hug he got from the governor of New Jersey, a famously pugnacious Republican, bear hugging the president and praising the bipartisan cooperation, which has been Obama's great weakness. You can't purchase that kind of publicity, and Obama had it free for 3 days with Romney shut out. I think that accounts for the change of the race, but I do think it wears off by yesterday, today, tomorrow. You get the inevitable backlash, the suffering, the chaos, the inefficiencies, inadequacies of government assistance. So I think that washes out, and I think in the last 96 hours, you will get a return of the Romney momentum, particularly because, as we heard from Chris and Britt, Romney has gone large at the very end, while Obama remains small, negative, and sort of counter-punching at a time when you'd expect him to play president.
Charles, on that front, President Obama made a comment the other day saying, don't boo, when they were booing Mitt Romney's name. He said, go out and vote. Voting is the best revenge, prompting Mitt Romney to put out an ad almost immediately, but also to respond this way. Listen. Now we're clearly having trouble with the soundbite, but he went out and said, look, President Obama wants you to vote for revenge. He said, instead, I ask the American people to vote for love of country. Your thoughts on that dichotomy and message as we go into the final days?
I think that played right into the Romney strategy of going large, and it showed how small Obama remains, always on the attack. Now, to be fair, he was really quoting F. Scott Fitzgerald, who said, living well is the best revenge. But revenge is not a word you want to use in your closing argument. And I think Romney pounced on that extremely effectively. I think it's within 6 hours he had the ad out. Why should you vote? Obama says for revenge, I say for love of country. That is the perfect contrast of large versus small. And I think it was a mistake Obama will regret.
Last thing, Charles, both campaigns tout newspaper endorsements all across the country, and both campaigns have a long list. But the Romney campaign has some interesting recent endorsements, especially in the state of Ohio, in the state of Iowa, the Des Moines Register, and now the New York Daily News.
And now in Wisconsin, where the Wisconsin State Journal, which is the second largest paper in the state, had endorsed Obama in 08, flipped. There's a study from the UC Santa Barbara that 11 papers have switched Obama in 08, Romney in 12, versus one that switched the other way, which, however you believe that the papers influence the electorate or not, it reflects what all of us know. We all know people who were for the Republicans in 08 and who have not shifted. We know almost none who've shifted. But we know a lot of people who were for Obama in 08 and have shifted, and that's going to determine the election. How many of them are there? If there are 3 out of 53, Romney wins.
Charles, thank you.